After not matching, one of the hardest things that you need to do is reflect on why you didn't match. I'm Dr. Bryce. I'm an OBGYN resident and mom of 5 in West Virginia. And 3 years ago, as a 4th-year medical student, I did not match. Upon reflection over the time, there's kind of 3 things that I really think that not only could I do better, but maybe if you are in the same position, you might want to think about doing them for yourself as well. So, number 1, the first thing that I would do is I would have started questions much earlier so that I was used to the format, but also I just really needed to change my study habits. Prior to medical school, I was able to do really well in both my undergrad, where I had a degree in biology with a minor in chemistry, as well as in nursing school, just by attending lecture, taking notes, and then rereading those notes and reading the textbook prior to exams. Medical school was a whole different ballgame. There's so much more information, figuring out the high yield information. It feels like everything's high yield and it's all thrown at you with a fire hose. But nursing school was like a slow drizzle compared to what medical school is. So that was a really big change and a shift for me that I wish I would have made sooner. And it's something that I continue to do now as a resident, as I'm studying for my next set of boards and my in-service exams, is that I do more practice questions. I still read my textbooks, I still take notes during lecture, but my main focus is questions, just so I get used to what kinds of things are they looking for, making sure that I'm answering things about how we, like what the actual guidelines are versus maybe what we do in practice, which is sometimes not always exactly following those guidelines. Anyway, the second thing that I would do is I would have practiced more interview skills, especially for me personally, the tough hitting questions. I'm very good with the gab. Obviously, I like to talk and chat with people, but when I got thrown some tough questions about some things in my application, I really sort of fumbled, didn't have good answers for those the way that I would have. So I think I would have focused a little bit more as my interview prep on actually answering some of those tough questions, having them in the back of my head. I only did one practice interview because I was like, I'm great at interviews. That was some hubris that it's not the same. I needed to practice. And then the third and final thing, and I think the thing that most medical students that are like me sort of miss, is that when you are on rotations or even when you're in the interviews, the thing that residents and attendings are looking for is, are you going to be a good coworker? So I was really worried about proving that I was smart, that I was good enough to be in the room. That had already been established. If the program director has decided that you're good enough to go on a sub-I, invited you for that, or if you have been invited for interviews, you've already met the smart enough category. You don't need to prove that. What you need to prove is that you're somebody that people want to work with. If you're constantly trying to prove that you're smart or that you deserve to be there, whatever your anxiety is telling you you need to prove, that's not a good coworker. That's not necessarily somebody that people want to work with. I'm not saying that you don't have hunger, that you don't try your best and show up early and do all of those things. It's just, if you it is a balance, right? If you try too hard, it comes across as fake and unlikable, and frankly, I think I came across as obnoxious. And to this day, when I am having those feelings of self-doubt and anxiety, that comes out. So that is something that I am continually working on, is trying to not let that anxiety manifest in that way. It's okay to be worried about your patients. It's okay to be worried that you're making mistakes, but there's better ways to kind of handle that anxiety versus turning into the coworker that nobody wants to be around, if that makes sense. So in general, again, more practice questions, more practice interviews, and then be a coworker that everybody wants to be around. Be coachable, ready to learn, all of those things. And I think those 3 things will really help you if you are, whether you are going for your first round of interviews and the match process, or you are reapplying. What other questions do you guys have about my story, my match, anything? Happy to answer those. As always, if you are struggling right now, please reach out to me in my DMs. I'm happy to talk to you, to send support and love. You will get through this week. It will probably suck for as long as you know that it's match week. It's never going to feel great, but you do get through in the end. I absolutely promise.